So very good afternoon, and let me join Dean Madan and Chairperson Harish in congratulating the class of 2024. It is indeed a proud moment for each one of you, and indeed for all the parents sitting there wishing your children well on their onward journey. So it's really a pleasure to be here. You know, the one thing that distinguishes ISB and each one of you is that as I stand here speaking to you, you are already people who have been in the real world. You are not fresh behind the ears. You already know what it is like to be part of an organization. You already know what it means to be part of a team. You already know what it means to work towards an organizational goal. You also know now, after your stay here at ISB, that perhaps when you go back to the workforce, the structured, relatively structured environment that you've enjoyed over the last 11 months is now a thing of the past. You're going to go back into the turmoil and chaos of the real world, right? Now, in coping with that once again and relearning to deal with that, I wanted to share with you some very simple thoughts, not in terms of business management, but in terms of what I now understand after 3 decades to be management, to do management of time and space. Those of us who believe that it is a continuum know that you have to manage both of them together. The beauty about being alive today, whether you're 25, 30, 35, or 60, the beauty is that we live in an age where time is expanding and space is contracting. What do I mean by that? By virtue of the increasing digitization of everything and instantaneous everything, what we believed in the past would take 10 years now takes 1. What would take a year now takes a month. And what would take a day now takes a minute. What does this mean for us? It means that people of my generation who had this much time to do what we wanted to do with our lives, you now have a multiplier of that in real terms. So for you, time has expanded. Your space, on the other hand, has contracted. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that in the past, geography had boundaries. I recently met a young lady who told me that she was the CFO for 32 startups all over the world, in India, in Indonesia, in Africa. Space has contracted. So imagine the beauty of the opportunity that you have in a universe where time is expanding and space is contracting. So what is it that this phenomenon is going to give you today? To my mind, it is giving you the opportunity of choice. In our country today now, the number of professions that you can pursue, including with your business management degrees, you could be part of the corporate sector, you could be entrepreneurs, you could be part of the non-profit sector, you could be a part of the government. You can be anything you want to be. Equally, you can be all of these at different points in time. That is the beauty of the life that I have enjoyed, and I only wanted to share with you that it's possible. I spent almost 3 decades in the corporate sector. I spent some time working with the non-profit sector, and now for the last 6.5 years in the government, and I'm not done yet. So it's really an amazing set of opportunities across the spectrum, across the color spectrum, across everything that you will have over your entire career. And you don't necessarily need to pick one. You can have it all. That is my belief. This whole phenomenon of expansion of time, my belief is it also gives you what I know that this generation holds very dear to their heart, which is work-life balance. Right? All of you from time to time want to give up those shoes and just walk barefoot on the beach. That's life. I must admit, I love my work so much that I consider that my life, and I'm just happy doing that most of the time. But to me, the important thing is that with the fact that everything is connected, everything is digital, everything is instantaneous, your ability to actually achieve that work-life balance, not minute by minute, not necessarily day by day, but over the entire lifespan that you have, is imminently possible and doable. And therefore, while some people say that digitization and this whole digital world has actually made people move away, everyone's just looking at their phone and people are not talking, my belief is the opposite. My belief is that because you can be instantly connected with anybody at any point in time, your ability to reach out to your parents, to reach out to your siblings, to reach out to your friends, to reach out to your colleagues, and just touch them with one message is so profound that to me, the digital world actually enhances relationships and does not need to detract from them. So while you're at work, while you're pursuing your wildest ambitions, all of those relationships are still possible because you are the privileged generation that can reach out instantly. In order to do that, however, what is it you need? You need space in your mind. If you want to think about not just your career and your work, but about the latest art show, the latest musical, your parents, your children, your spouses, you need to have space in your mind. And to illustrate this, I would like to give a very simple parallel example. I have a very close friend who was the most hospitable person in our entire group of friends. Her house was always an open house. No matter how many guests showed up, they were always welcome. And we used to often ask her, Savita, how can you do this? So many guests. And she used to say, देखो ऐसा है, दिल में जगह होनी चाहिए और बहुत सारे गद्दे होने चाहिए. So you don't need that many bedrooms, you don't need that many beds, you don't need that many bathrooms, you just need space in your heart. So similarly, when you go out there and you're trying to balance your relationships with your careers, you don't need a lot of time. You just need the mind space. If you're thinking about somebody, reach out to them, touch them, and that's enough. It's the gadda in my friend's house. Now, in order to actually achieve this and still not compromise, right? So you don't want your boss telling you, oh, you're constantly distracted and constantly on WhatsApp, right? I think the important lesson that I learned over the last many decades is that you have to inculcate a discipline to switch on and switch off. Sometimes it is minute to minute, sometimes it is half a day to half a day, sometimes it is 3 months to 3 months, sometimes it is years. You are focused on one thing and that's fine, you're switched on. Everything else is switched off. You're in that moment, you are focusing only on that one thing. If you practice this art of being in the moment and being switched on to one thing while being switched off on everything else, believe me, you can actually, as the proverb goes, eat your cake, have it too, many, many of them along the way. Many of us use checklists in our work, and most of you, as I said, you've come from the corporate sector and you know that nothing helps you more than a checklist. But to me, the checklist is not just about a list of items. To me, a checklist is about creating the space in your head. Because when you put down a set of things on a piece of paper, you clear your head of the noise of those items. And when that noise of the 20 things you haven't yet done goes away, you are able to focus on the one thing that you are doing at that point in time. So look at your checklist not simply as to-do lists, but as a way of creating space in your brain, in your mind, and to be able to focus on that one thing at a time, which is what is going to allow you to play to win. Why do you do all this? Maslow's pyramid of needs has not changed since the time that this thought was born. At every stage of life, you will be seeking one of these goals in one form or another. That has not changed. Not for you, not for me. The question is, this will not happen all together and at one time. However, over an entire spectrum, from a year to year to year, and as you start today in 2024 and move forward, you will realize that all of the desires that you have, everything that you wish to achieve, is indeed possible, provided you are able to create that space in your mind, use the wonderful opportunities that this country is presenting to you today, the growth, the opportunity, the entrepreneurship, the spirit, all of that is available to you, and with single-minded focus, when you pursue each goal, it will indeed be yours. Thank you.